Hare Krishna and welcome back to the Sriman Narayaneeyam sessions. Today let's do Dasakam 15, chapter 15 of the Sriman Narayaneeyam, which speaks about Kapilopadesha, that is Kapila Deva's instructions to his mother Devahuti. Let's read the first shloka. Matiriha gunasakta bandhakritteshvasakta tvamrutakrituparundhe bhaktiyogastu saktim mahadanugamalabhya bhaktirevatra sadhya kapilatanuriti tvam devahutyai nyagadi. So what does it say here? That is when in this world, when the intellect gets attached to the sense objects which are a product of the trigunas, then it becomes cause of bondage. So what are the sense objects we have learned earlier? The 5 sense objects are Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha. What are they? Shabda, sound; Sparsha, touch; Rasa, taste; Rupa, form; and Gandha, smell. And these are a product of the trigunas, the 3 modes of material nature, the sattva, raja, tamo gunas. What are they? The mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. So when the intellect gets attached to the sense objects which are a product of the trigunas, then it becomes the cause of bondage. Otherwise it leads to liberation. The path of devotion alone will free us from unwanted attachment. Okay? And the path of devotion which arises from following holy men or in the association of pure devotees of the Lord only should be sought after. Kapilatanuriti devahutyai nyagadi. And the poet Sri Melpattur Narayana Bhattatiripad ends each verse with this line. What does it mean? Thou incarnate as Kapila Deva, thus instructed Mother Devahuti. Okay. Now in the next verse, the Lord speaks about the 24 elements of nature. What are the 24 elements? The 5 Panchamahabhutas. What are they? Earth, water, fire, air and ether, the 5 great elements. Then the 5 tanmatras or the 5 sense objects which we just now referred to: Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha. Sound, touch, form, taste and smell. Okay. So 5 plus 5, 10. Then the 10 senses, the 5 working senses and the 5 knowledge acquiring senses. So which are the 5 working senses? They're the hands, the legs, the tongue. Okay, the tongue, you speak with the tongue, right? The anus and the genitals, that is the reproductive and the excretory organs. So these are the 5 working senses. And then we have the 5 knowledge acquiring senses. They are the ears through which we hear and gather knowledge, the eyes through which we see, the nose through which we smell, the tongue through which we taste, and the skin, sense of touch. So 5 knowledge acquiring senses. So the tongue is said to be very, very strong. It has got 2 functions: talking and tasting. Okay, so Acharya say if we use the tongue properly, then everything else will fall in line. We should learn to control our sense of taste and sense of talking. We talk anything and everything, and we taste, we eat anything and everything. So if these 2 functions are controlled, then everything else will fall in line. So now 5 sense organs, the 5 Pancha Mahabhutas, the 10 sense sense organs. So altogether 5 sense objects, the 5 Pancha Mahabhutas, that is the 5 great elements, and the 10 senses. So 20. Plus then comes Prakriti, that is the material nature or matter. And then Prakriti, then the Mahatattva or the great spirit, the total material energy, then Ahankara, false ego, and the Antakarana, the mind and its different modes. So these are 24, so that make up 24. Plus Purusha, the Atman. Purusha is distinct from these 4 because it is eternal and is part and parcel of the Lord. Okay, he who understands this distinctiveness from the other 24, that Purusha or the Atman is different, is distinct from the other 24, is released from Maya, material bondage. Okay. So Purusha is eternal. That is, the Atman is eternal because it's part and parcel of the Lord, and it is free from the attributes of Prakriti. But when Purusha identifies himself with matter, then what happens? Then he becomes attached to those attributes. Like, I am hungry, I am thirsty, I experience, I am the doer, I, me, myself, etc., etc., etc. That sense of I comes into effect. All right, and Prakriti will leave its hold on Purusha if he constantly worships the Lord. Constant meditation. How do you meditate on the Lord? Kapila Muni says, having freed the mind, having cleansed the mind of all unwanted desires, you have to meditate on the Lord's form adorned with uh, divine ornaments, holding divine weapons in his hand, like the Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Pushpam, seated on the Garuda, and who is of a bluish black luster like that of the Tamala tree. Okay, and then comes Shravan. So Smaranam, this meditation means Smaranam. And then comes Shravanam and Kirtanam. Here from authoritative sources, not from any Tom, Dick and Harry. Like we said earlier, devotion should be by following holy men and in the association of pure devotees. So listening, hearing from pure devotees and chanting the holy name and always remembering the Lord Smaranam, one develops devotion. And such devotion, such pure devotion, in such pure devotion, the mind flows uninterrupted towards the lotus feet of the Lord. It is like the flow of the Ganges, uninterrupted flow of the Ganges to the ocean. Similarly, the mind in that devotion, with that sort of devotion, the mind will uninterruptedly flow towards the lotus feet of the Lord. And only such pure devotion can conquer the cycle of birth and death, to free ourselves from this never-ending cycle of birth and death. But unfortunately, Kapila Muni tells Devahuti, men of this world are eager to gain wealth by unfair means to support their families. Yeah, and being overly attached to sense gratification, they are devoid of devotion to the Lord, and then what happens? They are led to the sufferings of hell. That is, repeatedly entering different wombs of different mothers, the jiva undergoes various miseries of material existence. Okay, long back, I was born to a different mother. In this life, I am born to another mother. Okay, and a few years hence, after leaving this body, I will be born to in the womb of yet another mother. In which species, God alone knows, right? According to my karma. The chapter 31 of the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam beautifully explains the growth of the embryo, growth of the child in the mother's womb. Okay, those days, science was not, medical science was not as developed as it is today, and there was no scanning. Okay, this was written so many years ago. All right, and that is the beauty of our scriptures. Even doctors are baffled. So those of you who can, please try to read. And this chapter 15 of the Sriman Narayaneeyam relates to chapters 25 to 33 of Canto 3 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So please try to read those chapters. It's really very beautifully explained, the growth of the embryo, the condition of the embryo inside the mother's womb. It's not in a very good condition. It's not in a happy condition. It's very disturbed. Yeah, it's lying there cramped. It's very cramped, and it undergoes a lot of trouble in the mother's womb. And at that time, it is said in the Bhagavatam, Kapila Muni tells Devahuti that that this child, this jiva, remembers all its previous births. Okay, all the sins that it has committed during millions and millions of previous birth, and then it promises, the Lord says, this birth I shall use for atonement of all that I have done in my previous lives. Okay, and he prays to the Lord to please save him from entering into another mother's womb hence. But then what happens? As soon as the child is born, the process of childbirth is very painful, both to the mother and the child. As soon as the child is born, what happens in that painful situation? Everything is forgotten. All the promises that he had given while he was in the womb is forgotten. From the womb of the mother, the child is transferred to the womb of Maya. We are all in the womb of Maya, right? And then after going through various sufferings of childhood is also not that easy. When the baby cries, the mother thinks that he is hungry, and then feeds him, but actually it might not be due to hunger. Maybe it's due to some pain or some itching, or maybe a mosquito is biting him and he's not able to express it, and the mother does not know why he's crying, and then she feeds the baby, and then the baby vomits because he doesn't want, his stomach is full. So all such sufferings he goes through during childhood, and then he enters the stage of youth, and again what happens, he is once again overcome by the infatuations of sense life, and this goes on and on and on. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare chayanam. Again birth, again death, and again entering another mother's womb. Okay, so we need to get out of this struggle. Okay, and according to our karma, we get our lives according to karma. Good karma leads to good life, good birth. Bad karma leads to bad birth. And one who performs righteous deeds like offering sacrifices to the pitras, to the forefathers, to the gods, etc., will go to the heavenly planet after leaving this body, and after enjoying all the pleasures of those worlds, of those heavenly worlds. When his pious deeds have been exhausted, the result of his pious deeds have been exhausted, that is, when his account balance becomes zero, then he comes back and takes birth again in another mother's womb. But one who performs desireless actions, okay, who travels the path of pure devotion to the Lord, after leaving this body, will go back, will attain the Lord, will attain the Supreme Lord, and does not have to come back again. And now, having known all that had to be known, Devahuti attains purity of mind, and Lord Kapila blesses her. Okay, and she was liberated by following the path of devotion. Kapila Muni then, with a group of ascetics, leave for the forest. And the poet Sri Melpattur Narayana Bhattadripad ends this chapter by saying, "O Lord, what more do I say? You yourself have firmly declared that devotion to thy lotus feet will remove all fears and fulfill all of one's desires. So, O Lord of Guruvayur, I pray to thee to please eradicate my ailments and endow me with devotion to thy lotus feet. Please give me bhakti," he says. Okay, and that's how he ends this chapter. So we'll stop here, but before that, I would like to request you all to please read, like I said earlier, chapter 31 of Canto 3 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Kapila Muni explains the growth of the embryo right from conception up to the time of birth in the 10th month. Beautifully, it has explained how this embryo grows from day 1 up to the 10th month. So all of you can read that. It is a real wonder. Even doctors are baffled. I've shown it to 2-3 doctors, and they were also many years ago how this has been explained so beautifully. This is what we learn in medical science. 2-3 doctors have told me. So all of you can see, this is the beauty of our scripture. So I would request you to all please read this chapter. It's really very nice and interesting. Okay, and we'll stop here now, and I'll see you all with chapter 16. Thank you for watching, and if you love these videos, please do like, share, and subscribe. Okay, and do let me know your comments also. Thank you once again. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.